Sorry, y'all. My sister bought me some Hershey chips. Are y'all from Philly? I love. Oh, I'm all tuned in the mic. Sorry, y'all. I love Hershey chips. I love Hershey chips. It's the best chip. I don't care. I don't care about Lay's. I don't care about Wild. I don't care about Rap Snacks. Hey, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. We are back with another one. Okay. If you are new here, welcome, welcome in. I'm Intisar, but you can call me Zar. This is my this is some guy I know, Mr. Joseph.
Hey.
Joe, my beautiful husband, and we are back and we're talking all things murder at first sight, chill. So, yeah, what are you guys up to? How are you doing out there? I wanted to really round back with you guys because you guys, I put up a picture, a post on YouTube, and asked you guys to ask us some questions, and the questions that we are getting are so good. I just started asking them to Joe, like. Like we're out. I was just like, well, what do you think about this? Like, so thank you so much, guys, for doing it for us. I'm so excited for us to put out that video. So stay tuned for that. If you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you can get the updates on us and what we're doing and where we're at and where we're going. And make sure you're following us on our socials that are below. So I done did all that, or whatever the case may be. Y'all ready to get into Married at First Sight? This is a relatively good episode, guys.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a lot that happened, and a lot of more positive things. I think we saw from a lot of the couples. Feels like last episode was just a lot of shit show.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I mean, it was some shit showing this time around, but
It
I do
was.
think
Well, it's always.
for the most part we had some really positive moments during this episode. And I want to start with talking about positive moments. Let's start with Stephen Noy.
Yeah.
I first of all, I want to say this. Let's get into it. Stephen Noy sets up a scavenger hunt for Steve.
Hmm.
Very, very cute. Come to find out, it took him about 2 hours to complete, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. Okay.
Which didn't surprise me at all.
But I thought it was a really, really, really wonderful gesture that she was like kind of like, trying to make or whatever the case may be. I thought it was really, really dope.
Yeah.
I go
She
ahead.
obviously put in a lot of effort today because it took him 2 hours to do it, and he was apparently walking all over the park or wherever that was.
She
So
said she planned it for since like
yeah, since
the beginning.
yeah, so that's cool. That was dope.
So let's get on into it. They had their scavenger hunt. I am feeling like they are really falling for one another. It's been really, really cute to watch. But let me say this about the our Asian girlfriends. We could all of us, I mean all of us outside of the Asian girlfriend alliance, we could all learn a little bit of thing or two from them.
Why you say that?
Because Noi was just upset with this man about not loving, like saying that he was in love with her, right?
Yes.
And she just got an attitude about it and ghosted him.
Well,
And
that's
now he
not how it
loves her.
happened. No, that's not how it happened.
um,
But she, I think I think I think it I feel a couple of different ways about it, right? Like it's always like we say we love, and it's always nice to see people grow in love
yeah.
together. But I also feel like it's not necessarily love if you're saying it because you know the other person just wants you to say it.
Right. So
You know
you
what I
think
mean?
it's
So,
disingenuous? Or do you think it's real?
yeah.
Like, do you think that they really like he loved?
No, I don't. I don't because it just kind of felt like, oh, we just had a conversation about how weird I feel about you not telling me that you love me. And it's awkward now because then we had a conversation about you saying how you loved everybody you ever dated,
Well, he's
and
38, and
then
this is what I was trying to tell Joe. When you get to a certain age,
no, that's not you ain't.
38 makes sense to
No, it does
me.
not. People don't have five loves in their life.
Let's do
You
math.
could be
Let's do
50.
math. Let's do math.
It's not
Okay.
about math.
It
It's
is
just
about math.
it's really not
I'm
because
saying I'm
love is really hard to come by. It's not a math thing at
but
all.
I'm saying if
Because
he didn't say he had five great loves. He said he felt like
he
he
said
was
he was
in
in love
love.
with five people, which I find that hard to believe.
Well, I think at 38 years old, even if we go by the
Your
basics,
age doesn't matter.
at the, at 38 years old, if we go by that logic, even if he started dating these women at 23, that's five women he could have dated and could have gave them all 3 years. It's realistic that he could have loved five people. It's absolutely
No, you're
positively
you're
realistic.
playing you're playing the numbers
I
of how
am,
many
which I
he could have
usually do.
dated.
I'm a Virgo.
Right, but it's not about numbers. I mean, I know plenty of 30 something year old people who can't say that they've been in love with two people.
But that ain't Steve's problem. That
Right.
ain't
I'm just
Steve's
saying,
problem.
Steve
Steve is
is nobody
telling
else.
us
I'm
we can't
saying
combat him saying he been in love
and
with
it's
five
and it's
people.
not about Steve, it's about anybody. Like if I haven't ever heard anybody say that they've been in love with that many people. You can have love for if he said I had love for five people or I you know what I mean?
But
But
people
like I
also
don't know
define being
nobody
in love differently.
right, but that's what I'm saying. I think people who have never really been in love are constantly thinking that love happened to them. Does that make sense? Like
Hmm.
if your understanding of love is just very surface, then you really won't know like if you've really been in love yet. You know what I mean? Like to me, I knew what wasn't love once I had love, and I was like, oh, like that
Hmm.
wasn't it. And fortunately, I experienced love very early because we met in high school.
Well, don't tell me
But
we gotta make a video about that. Don't give him all the juice. Don't give him the juice. Go ahead.
everybody knows we met in high school. But so fortunately, I've experienced love early on. But and I've heard many other people say the same thing. Like I thought I was in love until I met my husband. And then I realized that wasn't love. That was lust, or that was this, or that was that, or I was just
Oh,
infatuated.
a
You understand
thousand.
what I'm
I do.
saying?
No, no, no.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think first of all, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm saying Steve not.
I'm just saying it's
I'm
just
picking
not
up what you're putting
people
down.
people don't have
But I
five
do.
loves in their life. But I'm also operating from a space of giving the word love the respect of like love. I ain't talking
Because
about I was cool with them or we had a long relationship. You know what I mean?
But I think, Lel, hear me out on this point, and this is where I'm coming from. From Steve's perspective, he may have been in love five times. The difference is that there are times where you come into relationships and you feel like this is my greatest love. And then that wipes away every other love that you may have had or that you were tallying up. I just don't think he has
I'm
met
talking
his
about love,
greatest.
period.
But I'm saying from his perspective, this is what he said about his life. What I'm saying is from his perspective, I can't quantify what love is for anybody else.
We
I
can't.
can't I
We
can't
can't. It's
give a
just not believable.
perspective and that's to you, but what I'm saying is and it really might not be. Let's be what I'm getting at is it really might not be. He just may not have met his greatest love yet.
Right. I'm
Because
just not
once you
I
meet your
understand what you're
greatest
saying that.
love, then you have the ability, like you're saying, to say, "Oh, I know what love is not."
Right. And
That's what I'm
And I'm
saying.
saying you could also have the ability to do that just being in love, period. And it's just not believable. We got sidetracked because my point was not to delegate whether or not what he thought love was. My point was that Noy was feeling the type of way. She had to be feeling the type of way for him to say also like, oh, I've been in love with five people. And then
But then
so
for her to make
so
it a thing, I thought it was weird that she made it a
but
thing.
I think
Y'all
I
only known
I
each other
think
for 3 weeks. Why the fuck? Like, I
right, that part. And I think that led I think that I said all that to say I think all of that led to him saying a week later or however far later, oh, I'm in love with you now or I love you. You
don't know.
understand what
I
I'm
think,
saying?
yeah, I, no, 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 no. I absolutely get what you're saying. I think you're right. But yeah, so I thought it was really fascinating. I'm glad they had that conversation about being in love or whatever the case may be. And what's weird is that didn't Noy say in the beginning that she fall in love all the time, but now she only been in love like twice? Is that weird?
I don't know what world anybody has been living in if you think you just run into love. Like I think the eHarmony apps and all that is $1 billion business because the motherfuckers is out here searching for love.
I
And,
agree.
and so it's I think the idea that like everybody just even if you date 100 people, you gonna fall in love with 50. That's just not real to me. So no, it's not surprising that I think she was saying that she falls easily,
Yeah.
which she gives me, but I'm never gonna buy it. I don't care who you are. You tell me, oh, I was with 10 people and I love 7. I'm like, you're lying. Okay, I'm
I
just
don't know. I don't know. I think it's something, but I also think, and I think it's something to telling somebody that you love them, even if you don't. I like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that helps a relationship along too. I know that sounds so weird, and usually I do think it's weird. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think it's something. I think that's a thing. So I do think it's something to that. I think it's something to being like speaking into your relationship what you want from it, you know? No.
no. Like I think that more times than not, it
It was
can.
funny.
I think
Nah.
more times than not, it can end in disaster because people feel led on, or people feel like
Let
I
it
think
stray, run back.
led astray, run amok, bamboozle. I think it's and especially from a male standpoint, and maybe that's really where I'm talking from. Like
Okay.
I've never heard it end well. Just as, and this is because I don't do that. Like tell people like if I'm not in love with you, I'm not going to tell you I'm in love with you. But I've known men who have done that, especially from a male standpoint. It's never ended well. Like it always felt like them chickens gonna come home to roost at some point, and it's gonna come out in the wash that like you wasn't really in love with her, or your actions aren't saying the same thing, or something, or somebody might be falling harder and faster than you, and something happens. There's some type of instance where they feel like, well, you said we was in love and da da da. You know what I mean? So
You know what though? I think that that falls in line with people having the wrong intentions about it, because I feel like if in my personal experience, I that person wanted me to say it back to them because that's what he wanted. He wanted that for us, and that's what he was manifesting. So I think that if that's not at all what you want, and you say that, yeah, chickens come home to roost. But I think that if you're just in the space of like, I'm speaking this
well,
into
people
something
don't
that
want
I
to be
want,
rejected. So that's
what you
the
mean?
nobody the biggest thing in this category is people
And
people
that was
don't
her
like
issue, a
rejection.
thousand
Yeah. So when
percent. She
somebody
just
tell
didn't want to
it's a
be
very
rejected.
vulnerable thing to tell somebody
A
I
thousand
love you,
percent.
and it sucks hard when they don't say it back.
I've never experienced that. So I would never know. But but I thought it was really cute that they had that conversation. I thought it was necessary. But we are going to learn something from these Asian women, y'all. They really do take, and I want this to be like us all learning a lesson. Y'all be asking me about the jewels. Y'all need to go find these married Asian women because they really be out here. They the ones. They have a way of creating an environment that they want without the man even knowing that they did it. She is a sorcerer. Like,
Yeah.
she really. I'm watching this and I'm thinking he don't even know that he doing what she want him to do.
Right.
He don't even know it, and that's why she could say we're gonna have three
That's why I
kids.
said I think it was an unconscious thing that like, oh, all of this stuff just happened, and then it was like, all right, I'm gonna say it, but it's like sorcery, like you
It's
said, like he don't even know
sorcery.
that it's happening.
And I want to be specific, and I know y'all think we always talking about race, but I want to be specific because I don't think that every woman operates in a matter of factly way, and that can include Asian women as well. But what I'm getting at is that if we just talking about statistically, their rate of marriage and relationship is different than some of the other demographics. That's all I'm going to say.
Mhm.
Okay, like I don't want it to be a thing. I'm just saying. So she something about noise, annoying. But but they had a cute little picnic. He told her he loved him. It was really cute. Let's move on. Let's talk about Jasmina and Michael. I want to move down to them. Um we thought Michael and Jasmina was going to have a nice day at the park. Okay.
Not me. Don't say we.
I am really in a space of giving Jasmine a grace because I think that as much as she wants him to communicate a certain way, she does not know how to communicate herself. The man literally sat in this woman's face and asked her 4 times, "What do you need?"
Literally, like if you were to go to a professional, if you were to sit down with a third party, whether it be a counselor, a marriage counselor, a pastor, whatever,
Whatever.
they would literally tell you to do exactly what he did. Okay, I'm not communicating properly for you.
Hmm.
So how do I do this better?
What does it
What
look
does it
like?
look like for me to communicate properly to you? Just talk to me. Just say it. Like, what do you
Just don't
mean?
talk at me.
How can we do,
But then
how
he
can I
got worked up, not worked
like
up, but he got frustrated because he's just like, girl, like, what are you talking about? And then she still didn't give him any. Like, you get into.
first of all, he didn't get a chance. He didn't have a chance to get frustrated. That was the other thing too, because that is that's also antagonistic, right? Like, uh, the question, the it was like a meme or something where people go, are you mad? No. Are you mad? No. Are you mad? No. And then you literally just ask, are you mad, until you're pissed and you're like, no, I'm not mad. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's what it was. It was like, just talk to me. And he's like, but I don't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? You like calm down,
It
calm
was
down.
it was
It's
given
like
a lot.
if somebody just walks up to you on the street and tell you to calm down 10,000 times, by the ninth time, you're gonna be like, you're not gonna be calm because they
Yeah.
just was digging at you the whole time. And that's what it seems like was happening. And that was to me the first time that we actually saw this happen on camera, where some of us were assuming this is how it's happening. Like
Mhm.
like he said something, and then she doesn't like what he said,
Mhm.
and it turns into, I don't like how you're talking to me, and he's just like, I'm talking to you like
But
this.
it's also something where you feel like you have to incessantly check your spouse. Get a man some. I mean, and I
Yeah, it
know
seems
grace
like
is
that.
earned, right? You know what I mean? Like you don't. Grace comes with, like, I feel like a foundation. Like you have the ability to say, all right, we fucked up today, we can move on and do better tomorrow, kind of thing. So that comes with a foundation, that comes with trust, right? But I just feel like the man can't even say hello, hi, how you doing, you know what I mean, like without it being like met with contention. And it's kind of exhausting to watch because I think Jasmina forgets that she is on a show where she by her own free will signed up to be married to a stranger at first sight. And that just means by default that you were unable to do it by yourself. Because if marriage was what you wanted and you're not married, we would all have to agree that you couldn't get
Right,
there, right? Like,
right.
you know what I mean? So obviously something that you're doing is incorrect. And that's the other thing about her. Like, I feel like she don't think
That she does
she doesn't
anything
think that
wrong.
what
There's no
she's doing is
accountability
incorrect. Right.
ever.
Right. And it's like even on the after show, I don't feel like she watched herself back and thought it was anything wrong with how she reacted.
No, because it's very evident to me that she never thinks that she's doing anything wrong. Like it takes two in any situation, it takes two people to play a part, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, or whatever. And you let Jasmine tell it, it's Michael, and she is trying to raise a child pretty much.
Yes.
And it's like
Like he just
he's
doesn't.
just so
She
retarded.
has done
Like,
so many things. Even the way she responded, and this is something that I despise. When you're taking a dig at the person who's trying to understand you, like, well, it's just basic knowledge.
yeah.
Like you should
How
know
don't you know this?
it.
How
First of
you don't know
all,
how to have a basic conversation?
but everything here is subjective knowledge. We speaking about what's specifically going on in this space, not what's going on outside of anywhere in the world or whatever the case may be, right? We
Right,
talking about what's going on with Jasmina and Michael. And he could give a fuck less about what's going on in the world,
right.
what's acceptable in the world, because he's not asking about that. He's asking specifically about what works for you. And you so big. Some people be so they be so used to losing, they don't know when they won.
Yeah. And you see that a lot. It's like he's literally coming to you and asking you, how can I do better? Tell me. What do you want? And then you're complaining about that. I
Y'all be
don't get what
weird.
you mean. Just talk to me. I'm just telling you to talk to me.
But that doesn't even make sense. And I don't know, like I'm
That
real
makes no sense.
specific about what it takes to communicate. I feel like I'm real specific about what it takes to communicate with me in a certain way in order for it to be effective. Right? Because communication, anybody, we communicate all the time. This is communication, right? But you want effective communication, especially with your spouse. They say when you want to call 911, you just shouldn't say call 911. You should say Joe, call
Right.
911, right? Why? Because that's effective communication. And you want to make sure that people understand exactly, especially when it comes to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once sometimes you do enough work on yourself, you go to enough motherfucking therapists, okay? If you somebody like me, where you get to a space where I might not know how to navigate or you, but I know for damn sure how to navigate me.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure that I advocate for myself in a way and explain things in a manner that anybody in the room, anybody around me could pick it up and will be able to navigate me as well.
Right.
So we could get the best out of the situation. And I just feel like, child, she be shadow boxing that man.
Yeah. And this is where I think we need more of the experts too, because she clearly does not have the tools.
Yes,
And I think that they would benefit from having these conversations with a third party,
I agree.
because I can only imagine what it's like just being in the crib with her, asking her like, how can I do this? And she's like, just do it better.
But she really
I like
thinks she
imagine
got
how
the
frustrating
tools.
is
They
that.
hanging
But that's the,
a
yeah, that's the
TV
wild
with
thing.
tape. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because she thinks she got the
She really does.
tools.
She really
Like,
does. Yeah.
that's the scariest part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so she's been in love, she says several times, and she made it a point to say, like, that's because they never disrespected me and they never did da, 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 and it was always really nice to me or whatever the case may be. And it's like, girl, then why you ain't with him?
I was thinking the same exact
Why you ain't with
thing.
him? And also, these are the wrong questions. I need to know why y'all not together. Who fault was it?
It's
That's to me good
it's
question.
definitely never going to be Jasmina's fault.
Because
That's very evident.
you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel like um I always want to know. The problem is that people get so used to lying about themselves. Not even lying about themselves, lying to themselves, right? And we all do it. We all create the story so we aren't the villain, yet the heroine or whomever, right? It's easier that way. The problem I'm having is that she wants so desperately, as much as she doesn't see it, to make him the villain in her narrative.
And it doesn't my first of all, that's a fact. But I also feel like it does not require someone to be the loser. Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? And
why you want to be right so bad?
it's like you don't have to do this. This is not a battle. Like y'all play for the same team. And it seems
Mm-hmm.
like she doesn't understand that concept. It's always like, no, Michael, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yes. Yes.
And we're not going to get to a good place until you accept that and verbalize it.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? Doing that, you bound to drown.
Period. See? Period.
You just are. Like I think that like you get to a place where at least I do, and I don't know how you feel about this. I know that I literally assess arguments based on how much it means to me. Like if it just means more to
And
him, I
but
just
that's what
don't.
they were saying in
I'm
the
like
after.
whatever.
That's what they were saying in the after party last week. They said you just got to pick your battles, and they were talking about Lindsay, and they said
Oh,
Lindsay
Lindsay.
picks all of them.
Let me tell you something.
But that's
Lindsay,
it.
Lindsay is a warmonger. Y'all might as well start calling Lindsay George Bush.
Straight up.
She just
That's,
how it is.
that's all she want to
She gonna
do.
start a fight with any fucking body.
Yeah.
Okay, it ain't no more French fries. It's freedom fries.
Yeah,
She's
she
about to
going at
get
it.
out of here. Like I just don't get it. But I think that it was a really good conversation. I love the conversation that they had about the brother and all the grief
Oh
and
yes.
loss that Michael has experienced. But y'all gonna beat my ass because I have an opinion about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you guys have pledged or whatever the case may be, but a part of the process is like to break you down to build you back up.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's what Jasmine wants to do. I
Well,
feel like
some people do in their dating life do that. They go for damaged people so that they it's like some type of weird thing that they like need to do. They need some people need to be with damaged people or need to fix somebody. You know what I mean? And maybe she's one of those people that feels like he ain't mine until I break him down. You know what I
I
mean?
thought that was a big scene, like a very big scene, and I'm so glad they shared it with us. And I know you guys are like, we should just be happy that we got to see him vulnerable. And I don't want to take anything from him being vulnerable. I just felt like for her, and we only get to see what we can see, right? But
Yeah.
given the knowledge that I have, for her to, I don't know that I would have opened up to her about that. She don't make it a soft place to land,
She
y'all.
doesn't. She doesn't.
And you know what though? She got pretty privilege is a thing
It sure is. Cause
because
Jasmine been getting all the passes
yeah,
since day one.
yeah.
And you can tell she's gotten the passes in life. Like you could tell, like
Oh,
there's not a lot of family and friends that hold
1,000%.
Jasmine accountable for anything
Because
because just a learned behavior to just always deflect.
and privilege and pretty privilege comes from your family and friends too. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like not just like people out in the world who get to occupy your space. It's like who you don't know and occupy your space, but you're close. You get it from them first.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But I do think that I'm harping on her because I feel like I somebody got a cape for Michael, and y'all know I don't be caping for men. I do not. Okay, but I do think that it's something to um watching this and being like, girl,
yeah,
is this how he was yelling at you in the goddamn?
right,
Is this what he was doing? Because if that's what he was doing, you could say that shit for somebody else.
right.
Okay.
But I can in my and it's funny because in my mind that's what was happening, and just this episode was it being confirmed, seeing everything I was thinking come to fruition. Like he's trying to talk to you, he's saying something you don't
Yeah.
like, and all of a sudden it's, oh, I don't like your tone, you yelling at me, you this is not how you communicate. Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
need to calm down. He's like, I'm calm. I'm asking you a
He
question.
was really calm.
Like he was calm. You let her, but she'll go back and get on the phone with somebody and say he was just yelling at me and da da
But
da da.
you'll
Da.
give him, you'll return. He won't even have a tone with you, but you'll return the
Yeah.
answer with the tone.
She started the conversation with a tone. He asked her, what was the first question was I think it was when he just said, how what's a better way to communicate with you? And she said, well, oh no, he said we was having a good time or something like that. How do we get back there or something? And she was like, well, yeah, that's because you wasn't talking to me in a certain way or something like that. And it was like, that's not he's this is how she responded when the conversation started out. It started out with her like coming at him because I remember us watching and going, damn, like that was the
But it's
tone
like,
out the
what do
gate.
y'all want? Y'all be wanting, and y'all know I'm the queen to smack a dog on his nose, push his face in the piss. But at the same time, I feel like y'all wouldn't rather just be happy. I just don't know what it's like to live in a constant state of conflict like that. That's got to be fucking
Yeah,
exhausting.
and it feels like she hunting constantly.
We'll talk about hunting constantly. Let's, even though I want to shout out to Jasmina. Jasmina's gem, brilliant, trademark it. That is all. So the only thing I'm gonna say is Lindsay needs drugs. Okay.
Yeah,
Narcotics.
yeah.
I am trying to I the funny does Lindsay throw you for a loop because I feel like she has redeeming qualities, but then she has a way of blowing. She's like a landfill full of
Yeah,
mines. This
yeah,
part looks really nice, but you'll get blown the fuck up over there. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And I think everybody else has kind of confirmed that as well. That would everybody is kind of like, we like you, Lindsay, but you have to like do better at not when everybody has an off day, but she leans. It's like she leans in and doubles down on her off days.
And she's also the kind of person who you can't tell nothing to because she's gonna throw it back in your face.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
I don't even. Let me tell you.
And every argument with Lindsay, every argument cannot be like
A low blow.
Yeah,
A
like
race to the
it seems
bottom. That's
like
what you
every
about to say.
time they have an argument, it's like, well, you could take your $60,000 and run with it, and it's like, how did we get
But
here?
we're not gonna be shaming people in these $60,000. That's not a bad. That's not a bad amount of money. Depending on where you live.
Also, that's your husband, Lindsay.
I
Like,
mean that
like, why are you trying to shit on like your man?
for
Like,
how about that? That's your $60,000,
how about
stupid.
that?
Like, but she is a fascinating egg. They get into an argument or a disagreement, and they're talking about how he expects things to go and how he has been feeling and why he hasn't been reciprocating any affection to her. And at first, I was caping for Lindsay. Like, I don't believe that that's okay to withhold um like affection from your spouse just because you're not really feeling like you might not be. I don't know, guys. What do y'all think?
My issue with Lindsay
I don't
in
know.
the conversation is Lindsay's gripes always seem like retaliation, which makes them disingenuous to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it seems like um every time Lindsay has a problem with something, it's right after Mark and right after she had an argument with Mark about something else that she did. Or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Or it's a disagreement or an event happened and out with the couples. And then Lindsay comes home and all of a sudden she hate Mark and everything that Mark is doing and she feels unloved and unwanted. Like I feel like it's never just like a legitimate thing of like we had a conversation a while ago and about how people's gripes are heard and I remember saying if I tell you that I have an issue with something, that's not the moment to be like, oh, well, I have an issue with this.
And it's something
You know what
different.
I
It don't
mean?
got shit to
Yeah,
do.
right. And it's like it don't
Yeah.
got nothing. Lindsay feels like she's
Mm-hmm.
always retaliating. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It never just
You
feels
know what
genuine.
though? First of all, let's put a pin in that real quick. There's something to what you're saying. Like there's something to being in the moment. And this not to cape for myself because I'm about to give you an excuse. But I think it's something to a lot of times people have a stronger constitution about what really bothers them, right? And then you get into an argument and you feel like, okay, now this is my fucking opportunity. I don't think it's 100% correct, but I do think that people, I think it's natural to be in moments where you just like, okay, I'm annoyed by this, but I can't allow this to take, you know what I mean, to co-op my day kind of thing. And then you get into an argument and then you just like, well, bitch, since you said that, here's my list of things that we get on my motherfucking
But
nerve.
I
I
think
do think it's something wrong with it, but I also
yeah,
kind of
because
get it.
nobody gets heard and it's a further race to the bottom. But I also think that uh, especially in Lindsay's case is
Yeah.
disingenuous because people
She's
people like Lindsay
retaliating.
and people like Lindsay don't have an issue telling you what is bothering them, right? So
Mm.
you can't get me to believe that you just been holding on to this and been sitting on it for months. Like some people do that. You can't get me to believe that that's what Lindsay is doing, right?
That's what you're doing.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, when Mark says, I don't like when you go out and it seems like you picking on people, and then Lindsay says, well, you don't give me an affection. Like Lindsay, you really didn't feel like that because if you did, you would have said it. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just trying to make it about you. I can get that. I can get that. I really want to I want to pause one more time because I had this in my notes. I really want to give Michael his flowers for really coming out and showing us that side of him. I thought that was really beautiful, and I hope he got something out of that because that really kind of that moved me like almost
Yeah.
like I was even like worked up because I'm like that's a
I
lot.
want people to stop. Anniversaries are for happy days. I want people to stop doing the
Yeah.
and I know sometimes it's a cultural thing, not for us though. But I know sometimes it is a cultural thing, like in the Spanish
Yeah,
culture,
yeah, yeah,
they have
yeah.
their
De
days
los
right
Muertos.
and all that. But
I
we
forget
need
what
to
it
not
is.
do this to ourselves. Like it's we've all lost people, um, but it cannot be healthy to just like suffer once a year every year because you don't mark this. Oh, this is the day of suffering. Like you're not honoring nobody by doing that.
I don't know. I have, you know how I feel about. You don't like when I talk about death, so I'm not gonna say much. But I'm gonna say what you guys think. Like, what do you guys think
You
about
wouldn't
that?
do
Like,
that either, though.
well, it's a lot of things I don't. I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? Like that's why I don't want to, because I'll give you all my list. So, and Joe does not like that, so I don't even want to get into it. But I do think that no, I would not do that. I would not do that.
No.
But I do think, I don't know, grieving is such a fascinating thing. So yeah, so I just wanted to put a pin in that before we get in, before I really start talking shit about Lindsay. Yeah, I really just think that Lindsay is in desperate need of a life coach and some Klonopin and a Xanax,
Yes.
a psychiatrist.
All of it.
It's very fascinating to me how she So you ever meet people and they come into a room and suck the energy out?
Yeah.
That's Lindsay.
Every room.
Yo, I cut my hair
every time,
and it's driving me nuts, and I did it by mistake.
please.
It's driving me nuts.
Every time Lindsay is around the other couples and other people, like I can feel the uncomfortable space that they're in. And just even watching them on the after party.
Yeah, you
You
can
know what I
tell that
mean?
everybody's just like, she here.
Yeah.
But why they keep putting her on?
Because
Is it me or has she been on here a lot?
she's been on here. It feels like
Every
every after
episode.
party.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because Lindsay is polarized. I think that's it.
Well, she sure is, and Mark thinks so too. And Mark's tired of hearing about his
Mark is
roaches and
terrified.
rats. Okay,
Period.
he's tired. And my thing is, but that's why I think she had cancer. Because, and shout out to the cancers, I do love y'all, but y'all have a way of doing things for people, and then when they don't reciprocate in kind, then you want to give a list of all the things you did for them. It's like if you did something out the kindness of your heart, you would never throw it back in my face.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you need to really sit back and think about why you're doing things, because and okay, so two things. Oh, this is a real deep conversation I'm about to get into, but I'm about to go there. You know what? I'm gonna wait for Elijah on, and because I think this will all tie into that. Okay. So, Lindsay and what's his name? Mark go to sushi. He tries to make up for getting on her goddamn nerves and her about to burn the bitch down or whatever the case may be. They go out, and I thought they had a really cute time.
They did, and they had a little moment at the table, and where he was kind of opening up to her and reassuring her.
I thought he was lying though. Did you think he was lying?
I did. I think
he couldn't even find the words. He was like, "You're very blue."
But I think this was just similar to the Noy and Steve situation. Like I think this is just the result of them having an awkward moment at the house and her saying, she had a list of things that I'm sure Mark's never heard of, because we also never heard of. I don't like that you do this. I don't feel this. I don't do this. Like, it's just, she was. So I think this was a result of that.
She don't let it wipe away.
No,
she's compounding these issues.
Yeah,
and conflating them, and that's really the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about the kind of relationships that they've been in and being in love and everything like that. And Lindsay lets us know that. Okay, I want to dig into this. She said Mark hasn't, he's been in love, but he hasn't had a serious relationship for years, right? So I want y'all to hear me out, because I'm about to give Lindsay some grace. There is something to, now Lindsay is fucking nuts. I want to say that first.
Yeah.
But there is something to dating people who don't have serious dating history and seeing how they show up with you. Like sometimes it is a fight. You know what I mean? Not like a fight, but like sometimes it is like a back and forth, because you have expectations of somebody to be a certain way, and they just they don't know how to show up. Like he does not have the tools. And I want to give an example. Lindsay is fucking annoying, right? Mm-hmm. But the moment you introduce affection to somebody, it is unfair to remove it. You know what I mean? In that manner, and you're married. And I know y'all want to push back, like, it's your body, your choice, and everything like that. I'm not really getting at that as much as I'm getting at like closeness. Like, you still have an obligation to show up in your relationship a certain way, despite the fact that you're upset. You
Right.
know what I mean? You get to be upset. You get to have that moment, but you don't get to change the dynamic of the situation unless you go and do something about it.
But I don't think which I agree, but I don't think that they ever really had like real affection. Like
Okay.
I feel like they was on a honeymoon with a complete stranger, and
They had sex. Okay. Okay. Then I'm giving them too much. I'm giving them
yeah,
too much. Okay. I could take that. I just think it's something too when you meet men, and meet people, and you realize that they might have like lower, like not as much patience,
yeah,
or the constitution. Like I think that a lot of y'all want to be married, but I don't think a lot of y'all got the stomach for that shit.
yeah,
That would just require too much of your energy. And I think that y'all want a wedding, which is fine. They're wonderful. But I think that a lot of y'all are really not built to actually live a life with another human being.
yeah.
And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Hell, I don't even think that marriage is all that great for women. You know what I mean? But I do think that it's like something too that y'all ain't even built for this shit. And I'm saying that because I think that inversely, I don't think that Mark has a strong constitution. He's way too scary. He way too. Well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to. You a grown ass man
Yeah.
with like another adult. Like, you know what I mean. Stand strong. What they say?
I
Stand
think
up.
I think
You're
I,
weak in the knees.
I think Mark's issue. I think Mark is non-confrontational,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Lindsay is the complete opposite. And I think he's kind of traumatized by her methods of confrontation.
You're absolutely right. And I'm trying to give her grace, but the problem is that you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, they had their moment. They talked about being in love and everything like that, which I thought was really good. But Lindsay found a way to bring any energy down. She really finds a way to control the energy in the room, and it is
Yeah,
stressful as
yeah,
fuck. Even in my house, goddamn it, it be
yeah.
stressing me the fuck out. So let's get on to Cantina and Elijah Wine. I don't really feel like going over what they did on a little. Why do it feel like the guys is always doing something cooler than the girls? The guys went and did
Uh,
archery, which I thought was really fucking cool, and then the girls went and got their feet done. Don't get me wrong, equally, I think it's cool,
because
but I still feel like, damn, like,
the girls got people like Katina and who's gonna be like, I ain't doing that.
okay,
Like they
all
can't,
right,
you know what
touche.
I mean?
Maybe that's the
Jasmina
case.
to
I mean, I guess, y'all. So Katina and Elijah Wine. So Elijah Wine was bent off my favorite cocktail, y'all. He had an Eddie. I don't even know if it was an Eddie
Oh,
Blitzer.
let me tell you, Elijah Wine was
Bent.
high, super high.
Yes, he was on another planet. Okay.
He was super high. But that's how I know. I told her, I said, that's how I know he must have been really upset at whatever was going on because he took a Eddie Blitzer or
Eddie
he went to go
Blitzer.
do something to calm him down before the conversation that I think he knew they was about to have.
Y'all, I don't know how to feel about this conversation. I feel like, first of all, this is where I wanted to bring up the conversation I wanted to have with y'all. Okay. So as far as Katina and Elijah Wan, this is a larger conversation. The reality is that women who are married are more likely to die before women who are not. Men who are married, you know what I mean? So I think it's something too, the fact that she's going to have to do something to equate her value to whether or not she's cleaning or cooking in the household is completely
Well, I don't
asinine.
want to because I don't want to. So let's be clear, because I don't want to reduce what he was saying to that because I think that it was definitely not that, and that's a very Neanderthal way of thinking. And at no point during their conversations, to me, did it seem like it was that right. So I think that I told you this yesterday. I think that no one would have an issue with anything Elijah Wan said if he was a woman. If this was a woman saying this to a man,
But that's because
hold on, let
women
me
do
finish.
more.
No, I'm just no, no, I'm saying period. Like no one would have an issue if he was a woman and said specifically the things he said about feeling like I go out, I work two jobs, I come home, I I cook, I clean, I provide, I do this, and I feel like I'm doing everything by myself, right?
Okay.
That right, there's nothing there's nothing Neanderthal about that. There's nothing sexist about that. You know what I mean? And I think that it's I think people, one, because it's coming from a man,
Hmm.
people which
So you didn't.
American
Okay.
society I think does, where we decrease men to no emotion, right? We talked about that a while ago.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the one thing. And I think the other thing was, in their second conversation, him being his normal self of being a little more animated and a little more
Extra.
extra. I think that was the other thing that might have turned people off to him. But the things he was saying is something that anybody in a marriage or anybody in a relationship and a partner could understand. If you just take the people out of it, take the sex out of it, take the people out of it, it's never good and okay to feel like you're carrying the weight of everything and you're not getting any help from your partner. And at the crux of it, that's what he was saying. And I think people should deal with that and less about all of the other fluff.
But I would argue, if you ask any husband and wife, somebody would say that they're carrying more than the other person.
No, no, no. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I didn't say there was an issue and somebody feeling like they're carrying more than the other person. I said there's an issue and feeling like you're not getting any help from your spouse. It was very clear that he felt like, I'm doing everything outside the home, I'm doing everything inside the home, and I feel like I'm not getting any help from you.
So okay, but I don't see it that way. I see it two ways. I do see it that way. But then on the other hand, I see it like you have an expectation that you expect her to live up to, and in 3 weeks she hasn't shown you that, and you're viscerally upset.
And I think that from what he was saying,
Hmm.
it sounded like, this is just how it sounded to me, that the bar has been lowered to below basic, and I feel like I'm not even getting that.
I
Like,
just
they,
feel
especially in the
like,
second conversation, it was more of like, give me something.
you know what it is for me, and this is like really why the problem is I want to understand where he's coming from. The biggest issue I have is that, one, I do think it's something to you wanting your spouse. He wants to acknowledge gender roles and everything like that, and he wants certain roles to be in his home, and I get that as well. But I also feel like people be doing all this, like, I, everybody want to be the boss, but don't nobody want to pay the cost. You like, I don't know that you can have so much to say in my life and you ain't doing what the fuck you supposed, like.
Yeah, but
I
she
don't
she never
know.
said that he wasn't doing
She
what he
did
was
not.
supposed to be doing.
She did not. She did
Yeah, so how
not.
did we get here? Like,
But what I'm saying is,
your
but she
issue
didn't
with
say
this,
anything at all.
because she it was nothing she could say, because she was low-key acknowledging that he ain't lying, because she's also said it.
She
And
said she didn't like cooking,
she's
and
all
that there's certain things she doesn't
but
like to do. She did.
but she also said in a confessional, in one of the confessional scenes a while ago, this wasn't in this episode, but she said something to the effect of like, I'm not used to really doing stuff like myself anyway, or whatever. It was something to the effect of that. And we
Yeah.
had a conversation yesterday, because Zar, is you're operating from a space of being raised the complete opposite, right? I said to Zar, there's a large population of people, especially younger people, who really don't know how to do for themselves. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to be financially stable. They don't know how to be how to handle basic stuff with maintenance for their car or for their house or for this, that, and the third, right? And I think
I'm
when
speaking from a space
of all of that being so secondary, that you think, well, at the very basic, that's what everybody is doing.
I
That's
think
what
you're right.
she's doing. That's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And that's just not so. It's just not true.
But I do think
And I
that,
think that if there is something, there's absolute validity to
yeah.
people feeling like this person is not on my level. We just had a conversation with a family member about that. We have a family member who felt like I love this person, but this person is not on my level. Us understanding the situation, we completely understood like where that family member was coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Knowing
sure.
both parties, how he feels is very legitimate and very basic. We just
I just
I
think it's
think
weird.
people have a problem with the messenger, and I
No,
think that's what
I
it
don't.
is.
First of all,
It's
I don't
not.
want
It's
to.
but I'm saying it's not the feeling itself. Like we understand people. We know
You know
people have
why it
felt that way.
sounds weird? It sounds weird because to us, these are basic things, right? Do
Right.
I think that she was wrong for not helping clean? Yes. But I also think, and that's not because she should be cleaning. It's because if he says, hey, let's just do this together, bust it out, be a team player.
That's
That's what I'm saying.
that's and that is 100% legitimate, right? And I think that people are being distracted by by the optics of it, right? It's never gonna hit any woman's, especially any woman's ear correctly if a man is griping about somebody cooking or cleaning, right? Like
Yes,
it's
because men are second class
right.
citizens.
It's never gonna hit anybody, and I think it's the trigger of the Neanderthal way of thought
Mhm.
that is causing people not to hear what, like you said, like the way you put it,
You-
it's causing people not to hear it and understand it because
yeah.
they so triggered by just a man talking about that type of stuff. Because like you said, it's not about the cleaning, it's about, like you said, doing this together.
Right.
We're trying to help each other. This is a task that
Yeah.
this is any type of task, right? But I think that the it's cloaked in this. People jump right to the meat and potatoes. Is he telling her that she need to be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant? And it's like, no,
Because
that's not what it's
I
about.
also don't think it's anything wrong. Because I think the bigger picture is that he wants.
He wants a partner. He wants a partner. That's the bigger
Partnership
thing.
is fascinating. Okay, partnership is fascinating, and I do think that maybe she could do a better job. Like to his point, like we had a housewarming, you ain't really do nothing for it, but decorate, like because. I get that, but I was raised in a certain way by certain kinds of people. I don't even like when people bring food to my house. Like if you come to my motherfucking house, I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna drink you up, I'm gonna do all that, right? You know what I mean? That's just that. But me and Joe have realized and doing whatever we do that's just something that we do,
Yeah.
or I do, and then now Joe does. You know what I mean? And that most people, like when we lived in LA, just for context, having a potluck was a thing. That's not a thing for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, where I'm from, my people from, you don't consume other people's energy. You consume energy via food. So at least, at the very least, in your home, your sacred space, if I'm producing all the, like, I'm good on this. Is that weird?
No.
I know I'm going somewhere with this, but what I'm getting at is that I understand where Elijah Wan was coming from when he said that.
Yeah.
I did, because it's also like this is your first time to show how you host.
Yep.
Also that, right? So for you not to show up that way, he looking around like, what kind of situation is this going to be? Is this going to be always me doing this shit?
Yeah.
So I
That's what
do
I'm saying.
get
That's what I'm saying.
that.
It's the core of the core principles
I
that
just
he
think it was
has.
how he said it.
It's how he said it, and it's the person who said it, right?
For me, it's just how he said it.
Right. I'm not speaking about you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Twitter mainly, and
Yeah, for me, it's just how he said it.
and people who watch the show, because
Were they going crazy?
they was snapping on him on Twitter.
Really?
So that's what I'm saying.
I didn't ask you.
So that's what I was saying. I think that if you just strip away all of the theatrics around it, look at the core principles that he was talking about, anybody would have an issue. Nobody would not understand a friend coming to them and saying, I feel like I do everything and I don't get any help from him or her, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody would be like, that's weird, sis. You need to figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody said, I feel like when I'm trying to prepare for something, I don't have any support. Like, if you think about the core principles, if that was your girlfriend, Ashley Ray or whatever, you would be like, that's fucked up, girl.
Yeah.
But because it's Elijah Wan got a lot of energy, and it's coming from a dude, it's hitting people the wrong way.
I don't think that it was coming. I don't think it was that it was coming. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Let me stop lying. I do think part of it was that he's a man. But for
because
me,
you also couldn't believe you said something like it's women that don't know how to. I said, Zara, I knew somebody who didn't know how to do laundry.
Like that
Literally
to
said they
me,
didn't know how to do laundry. I'm like, yes, that's common. That's why I said that's why the boy asked
y'all are
Steph Curry,
really
Dad,
ugh,
do you know how to make a
fresh.
mimosa? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
There's a
Right.
generation of people who just only gonna know how to make a mimosa. They not gonna know how to clean, cook, get their oil changed, do laundry.
But she's a restaurateur.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is that I do think I absolutely 100,000% think it's something to what he said. He said that I went and picked up the chicken. They bought this. They bought that. There is something to that because this is your
Anybody would
motherfucking
be
house.
pissed, but it's our house.
But this is
It's our
that's
house.
right,
Anybody would be
right,
pissed if you. Let me tell
right.
you, the worst thing is being in a partnership and feeling like you ain't got no fucking partner. I
Child.
literally stopped I stopped doing a project I was working on because I felt like literally and everybody who I talked to about this project thought that the idea was amazing to the point where I'm gonna do it again at some point. That was just a conversation between me and you. But everybody thought this project was amazing, and I stopped doing this venture because I was one of two, and I started to feel like I was one of one.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved doing it and
Hmm.
saw the potential in it, it's nothing worse than feeling like we supposed to be a team, but
Hmm.
I'm doing everything.
Yeah. That's
You know
how
what I
Joe
mean?
feel about me, yo. I
No,
make him
that's
do
not.
all the work on the side. I'm talent. I don't
You are talented.
think
But
so.
that's only because I'm your producer. That's all. That's different.
What you mean?
That's very different. We play different roles,
Okay.
right? So in this
What's my
situation,
rule?
talent,
Okay, okay,
right?
okay.
If in this situation, I'm just also talent in this situation,
Right, right,
right?
right.
But so if that's that's just different titles. That's just different roles, right?
Right.
Different. This is what you do. This is what I do, right?
Right.
It's very different from if we going into something and we're like we're doing this together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's you know what I mean. If we decided I'm gonna take the trash out and then you're gonna mop
And
the
then you leave the trash in the bathroom like the trash is in the bathroom right now.
no, that's not
Oh.
no. If we decided I'm gonna take the trash out, you're gonna mop the floor. You you mopping the floor and not me taking the trash out. It's just
Hmm.
us working in tandem, right?
Right.
But if we said we're both gonna mop the floor together and you in the corner on the phone, it's you understand how that's more because we're not playing roles.
Yeah.
I'm just left holding the bag.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what was effed up about it. And I think that Katina is gonna. I think she's gonna show up though. I think she's gonna show up, and I think
I think she wants to, and I think she because she wants to, I believe that she will eventually.
and
That's
because he
so he
wants her
needs
to,
what he's gonna have to do.
he
What
gotta talk nicer though,
what
y'all.
he what well he knows that, and what he's gonna have to do, which is why he took the weed the first time because he was very nice that
He
conversation.
was, but he was being snarky though. He was like, "Well, love is off the
Well,
table if I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
see." That was
yeah.
mean.
How did he
That
say?
was mean. Love is off the table if I can't. It was just
um,
like, bro, like slow down. Like you
yeah.
really are into this girl, and that's okay.
Yeah,
You know what I
but I
mean?
think
Or do y'all think he
he's
into
gonna
her?
absolutely I do think he's just gonna have to exercise more patience because that's another thing coming into something like this just ice cold. You are not used to the type of patience that you exercise in a marriage is very different from the type of patience
And
that you
that's why a
exercise
lot of y'all
when
ain't
you
got the
out in the
stomach for
street.
this shit.
Yeah, right,
That's really why. And
right.
somebody said you gotta ask yourself, would you marry you?
Right.
Like that's like a really good question because some of y'all really y'all be I don't even know why y'all be looking for people. Y'all don't want nobody. Y'all really don't.
Yeah.
Y'all be want somebody to take pictures with and shit. Like the shit
Right.
people be going through, like marriage wise and otherwise, and in these deep relationships, y'all wouldn't know what the fuck to do with yourselves.
That's a fact.
Y'all wouldn't know what to do. We watch this shit and really be watching and laughing at these motherfuckers. Y'all don't really be going through nothing. Like, you
Right
know what
at
I
all.
mean? Like, this should be stupid. Like, you talking about her not cooking and stuff. Like, people really go through things. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it's like to see this play out and I think I took out annoyance to it because this motherfucker getting worked up over some. Like, are you kidding me? Do you know how many fucking like arguments you're gonna have with your spouse that you're gonna look
But
back on this one and
that's how
think
I
this is
feel.
stupid as hell?
That's how I feel about a lot of these conversations, a lot of these
Dumb.
arguments. This is a this is another show, but it goes back to the girl on Love Is Blind saying, it was him telling me that he hated me. You know
Like,
what I
girl,
mean?
just say it with the cocaine.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because my do you don't get me started, y'all. Do not get me started. My thing is this: if y'all gonna come to me and ask me about what it take to be in a marriage, I'm gonna give y'all real life advice, okay?
straight up.
And it's going to be something to keep you in your marriage. If you want to talk about longevity and everything like that, y'all make sure y'all ask us all the questions. If y'all talking about some fair weather shit, y'all can keep that. We don't even want that energy in our
Right,
lives, okay?
right.
You know what I mean? Because this to me, the reason why I took so much pause to it, because I'm just like, is this fucking for like
Yeah,
what are we 12? That's why I felt like it ain't no way this grown ass woman ain't doing these things.
yeah.
Like I can't even believe like
I know.
I also I'm really a spiritual, deeply into the earth, the moon, and the water kind of woman, and I just think that the way that I take care of my spouse, I'm a I don't know. It's voodoo. Like I think part of it is like you know what I mean. Like it's and I mean this with all due respect. Joe ain't never been taken care of like this in his life. You know what I mean? And I would argue that his mama ain't did it. So it's like you know what I
Ha,
mean. Like and she knew him far longer than I have, right? But it's like I think that it's something to being with somebody and wanting to be interwoven in a way that I want him to feel like uh if I don't ask him what he gonna eat for dinner, he like. I mean, granted, I would love if he asked me what I want to eat for dinner sometime, but I do think
I
that like
do.
you do,
She just starts out so early.
but
Like
I because
I'm
I'm
not
a
gonna
planner.
I'm not gonna hit you at 10:30,
Yeah, I am a
but
ten
she
thirty
don't give
person.
me
Like, are we
yeah.
having chicken or fish
I'm
for
like,
dinner?
I don't even.
It's because I'm the one who has to cook, so it's like I got to be all in my brain about it. But not to say that I have to. I'm saying that I love cooking, but I think it's something too. I'm getting at the energy that you circulate through the things that you do when you're creating your home.
Yeah,
That is about building your foundation. Okay, your ancestors will provide you with some momentum in your love life. If you are pushing things back out, it's all cyclical. So that's why I think that like women cook or clean. Part of it is that they feel like it's a duty, but the other part of it, it's being interwoven with the things around you. Not to say we're supposed to be fucking custodians and fucking, chefs or whatever the case may be, but more that it's comfortable for us.
yeah.
I'm nesting as well. I'm creating something as well. You know what I mean? For me. And it's like I don't
But
know.
at the end of
I
the
don't
day,
know. I don't
y'all,
know.
that's what we are to each other in a marriage. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, I am the custodian in my fucking house. I'm also the handyman. She's the chef. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's how we make it through this thing called life. We play our parts and we mesh them together, and we
Yeah.
try to be the we try to optimize and maximize as much as we can. And the best team, everybody plays their role to their strength, right? Those are the best teams in any aspect of life, in any genre, sports, business, corporate stuff. No matter what it is, the best teams are the best teams because everybody does what they do at a great level, right?
He
And
just
it
got to be nicer. It's
and
not what he said, it was how he said it.
I know I said it
It was how he said it. I thought it was a little bit too much, and me and him would have been arguing. Well, no, I probably would have been like Katina, like, go ahead, get it off your chest.
because
But
Katina Loki,
she gets it.
I think she gets it, and I think she
She
feels
gets
bad
it.
about it. That's why he has to, curb how he because he just has to be more patient. And he'll learn that because
You
in a
do.
marriage he'll learn that. But I think Katina, like y'all, some of y'all was on Twitter, like uh killing Elijah, and I'm like, Katina wouldn't even be fighting y'all like this. Like,
I
you
agree.
know what I mean?
I
Like I
agree.
think she
She probably be
knows.
like, I can't cook, girl,
Like
or I
she,
don't
you
cook.
know what I mean? I think she knows a lot of the stuff that he was saying was real, and she was right in saying it just is gonna take time. Because she even said, I can't do it today. I can't flip the switch and
Right.
everything is
It'll
gonna.
take
She
time.
said it's gonna take time, but that was her agreeing with him. No, so that's what like
Or
I'm
just
telling y'all
saying,
to
I got the stomach for
listen
this.
to what's happening
Right.
Twitter before y'all just jump down somebody's throat.
But
Even Katina would not be is not killing him like y'all killing him.
I agree. And what works for your house, work for your motherfucking house. Let's stop, give people more grace.
Right.
I know we all talking shit because they put it out on TV, but y'all know what I'm saying. Listen, we gotta get out of here. I'm trying to get my man to take me to go get a drink. If you have not already, buzz down. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Do us a favor, drop us some questions below that you want us to answer. We're gonna put out a video soon, hopefully sometime next week with some, answers to your guys' questions or whatever the case may be. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Love on the people that you with, y'all. Be nice to them, and obviously cook them something because these motherfuckers is running.
Ha.
And we'll see you guys later. Bye.